joining this session out of your busy schedule. You are ready to give us a class. So we are very thankful to you, very grateful to you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ayushi, for organizing this. My Dandavat pranams to you and everyone present here. Hare Krishna to all of you. And before we start, I just quickly check if my recording access has been permitted. Ayushi?
Yeah, Mataji.
Okay, yep. Awesome. Thank you very much. So just introduce myself, and my name is Ishwari, as Ayushi was saying, and I'm a disciple of His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Guru Maharaj. And myself, with my husband and 80-year-old son Ballabha, we live in Australia. We have been here for about 16 years or so, and I've been teaching for about 10 years of Vedic scriptures and mantra meditation and etc. And before we go into today's session, I'll just do a little kirtan. That's okay. I'll just share my screen. Just give me 1 second, sorry. Sorry, just bear with me. Sorry, just technical difficulty. 1 second. I'm unable to see some screens here.
Mataji, should I share the file from my phone?
Yeah, you can do that. But now I fixed it. Let me try once more. If not, then I will ask you to share. Yeah, maybe you can share the screen, Aishi, if that's okay. I'm thinking I might have some trouble here. Too many screens, so it's difficult.
Okay, so I'm sharing with my mobile, Mataji. Till the time.
Okay. Oh, is it? All right. Let me. Okay. In that case, I'll just make something ready and.
I'll need 2-3 minutes with laptop.
No need, Aishi. I think I can do it now. Let me see this. And let me know if you guys can see the screen.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So my apologies for this technical dramas here. So this is a topic about overcoming psychological distress in bhakti. I have chosen this topic because the psychology is subject of my interest. So I thought I can do some more research on it because my PhD is going to be based on exactly on this topic. So I thought it will be worthwhile for me to dive deep into it. If not diving deep into it, at least I can start floating around what is about and how we can address this from the experience of other devotees and our own selves and scriptures, of course, etc. Okay, so let's do this kirtan. Can you see my screen all right?
Yes, Mataji, it's perfectly.
Okay. All right. So I don't have any musical instruments. It's just going to be me singing this song. I thought this is a little relevant to our subject for today. So you're more than welcome to stay on mute and sing with me. So that because if we all sing together, there will be incompatibility with the network bandwidth. So I'll sing, even though it is horrible singing. Still, please bear with me, tolerate me. All right. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sahara Yedase Karuna Kori. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sahara Yedase Karuna Kori. Diyapada Chaya Diyapada Chaya Soda He Amaya Diyapada Chaya Soda He Amaya Tomara Charana Glory Tomara Charana Dori Chaya Bega Domi Chaya dosa sodi chaya guna dehodase chaya behadumi chaya dosa sodi chaya guna dehodase chaya satsanga Jaya satsanga deho he amare Jaya satsanga deho he amare bose chi sangere ase bose chi sangere ase ye kaki amara nahi paya bala harinama sankitane Ye kaki amara nahi paya bala harinama sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori, tumi kripa kori shadabindu diya deho Krishna namadhane. Deho Krishna namadhane. कृष्ण से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पारो तुम्हारा सखतिया चे कृष्ण से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पारो तुम्हारा सखति आचे आमितो कांगाला आमितो कांगाला कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली आमितो कांगाला कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली दाय तव पाचे पाचे दाय तव पाचे पाचे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so this song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur Goswami Maharaj, he has written this wonderfully, talking about how we need to surrender to the devotees of the Lord who has the power to give us Krishna. And also we need to teach, not teach, we need to learn how to control our faults, the anarthas, the fault finding nature, and how to improve our good qualities. So this song is talking about all of those things. So if we look at it in a holistic approach, when we talk about overcoming psychological distress in itself is a big subject matter. And then the another subject matter is bhakti. And then when we combine together how to overcome psychological distress in bhakti, which is very interesting topic, because many of us think that bhakti is, or many of us expect, and which is true, what we expect is bhakti is pleasure-giving activity. And what we don't understand is pleasure-giving activity for Krishna, and we are the one who are assisting, assisting our mind, body, and senses in serving Krishna. Because we think the pleasure-giving or pleasure-taking approach is for our own self, that's where the problem comes, because we don't understand what is the common ground there. So when we don't identify who we are trying to serve, what is our higher purpose, then there is a discrepancy between our reality and expectation. Then that's where we find this distress, so-called worry, anxiety, all come from. Okay. So now we are going to officially move on to the topic, mind. So when we talk about mind, but before we go that, Ayushi, may I suggest you to keep the time and let me know, give me a thumbs up or heads up saying I'm going over time or something like that, or when we approach the time mark, let me know so I can manage finishing it up earlier. Because we started late a bit. Apologies.
No problem, Mataji. Today we have full day time because we are starting in the morning itself.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice. Very nice. It's very nice to see you all being very enthusiastic. Maybe I should learn from you all how to be more active in bhakti. So I'm very glad to be part of your association. And today is our Snana Yatra happening in our Brisbane temple. So yeah, so it will be in probably in a couple of hours here. All right, thank you. Now with the mind, so most of us think mind is the culprit, don't we? Mind is the thing that is torturing me. Mind is the enemy and everything. Well, we are very clever. We use the mind to fulfill our desires and everything. And then we blame the mind. And we say the mind is that, mind is, well, come on. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly, mind is like can be your best friend or also enemy. We hear this all the time from the devotees, time to time. They repeatedly tell this. But still what we do is, oh, mind is my enemy or mind is something I can't control. Yes, it is hard, but by practice and training, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we can train the mind in whatever way we want it to be. Next, maybe I just minimize this so you can all see. All right. The worry. So when we talk about the worry is caused by whatever factors, but it can be in three different platform. It's on three different platform. One is healthy worry, and then there is another unhealthy worry, and there is transcendental worry. So when we talk about healthy worry, say for example, in this picture, if the child gets hurt and immediately the father becomes worried and he does what he has to do, which is a healthy worry. You have to do it. You can't just, deny the fact that, I have to take care of my child, or you just don't care about the situation and avoid it. No, you won't do that. That's not healthy, of course. But that worry, whatever you are experiencing or feeling because your child got hurt, which is a healthy worry. Like that, when your exam comes, you will be worried naturally. It is okay. So the stress or the worry in a lower dose is very much recommended, and we needed it and we get it, whether we like it or not. That will help us to get organized. When we get stressed, some people, when they get stressed, their adrenal, sorry, just adrenal starts to pump up so much. Then some might need to go to the toilet, or some might need to get fresh air. Some might need to take a deep breath. Some might need to talk to somebody. Some might not want to talk to anybody. So it depends on the individual personality. We deal with our the worries, the stressors. So the next unhealthy worry is something that you anticipate, or you just imagine that something is going to happen, and you're worried about it. See, first of all, this material world is Dukhalayam Ashaswadam, 8.15 Bhagavad Gita. So whether Prahlad Maharaj says in Bhagavatam also, whether you work on it or not work on it, you automatically get your um, enjoyment and suffering based on your piety and impiety. Therefore, you don't have to work hard for that. You don't have to endeavor too much for it. It's not that you don't work, but you don't do too much for it, right? That's the point. And then there is transcendental, Uri, like, oh, I have a service to go to now. I need to, say, for example, sometimes you need to prepare a poster for upcoming event, and now you need to sit down and make the poster. Now you're too anxious how to get it uh, look better than last time, or how do you make it look fantastic and easy to read and everything. You bring up all these ideas to put things in the poster, but if it doesn't turn out very well, or you take it to your superior for an approval and they disapprove and suggest you to make another one, and then there is an anxiety there. It is transcendental anxiety. I'm not going to address here whether it's good or bad, but you will get it. Okay, so that's the point. Now, to deal with anything, this type of worry or distress, first of all, we need to be compassionate towards two things. One is your own self, and the other one is the other living entities. When you're being compassionate towards your own self, that's where you take self-care more seriously. You take care of your health more seriously. Serving the deities is important, but what is equally important is serving your body to be fit to be able to serve the deities nicely. So say, for example, you exploit your body, you abuse your body, you work too hard, too much. Yes, it is service. Yes, there are good things you're doing, understand. But what happens sometimes, we forget about our own self and we overdo it. And then we end up exploding at one stage saying, oh my God, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. So this is not where we wanted to get into. So you should be able to learn to say no, which we always hear from this corporate world as well. So you should be able to learn how to say no to some services or some activities when you think you might not be able to fit that into your schedule, right? But if you are a good organizer, if you are very much capable of managing your time very well, then I would suggest, yes, go for it. Take challenges and do it. But some people, they don't like to even do the normal chores because they are set up their mind with the comfort zone. They don't want to do it any more extended factors. Everything they want to do within their own little nest. But some people, in my case itself, for me, I like challenges and I like to go above and beyond my time schedule to fit anything and everything. And of course, I will also learn, not I will learn, but I also learned from my husband to say no. Again, not saying no in a rude way. Of course, you're saying it in a polite way or giving them options. Say, you can't do this job, whether you're at work or you're at school, uni, or at service, wherever you are, you can't do that. You can't take up that particular role or an activity. Then what you would be able to do is, instead of saying no rudely, you can offer them some other alternatives. Say, for example, yeah, that's a good idea. I love this opportunity. Sunday, great. But how about we do this following Sunday? Because this Sunday I have some pre-schedule. I'm working on this, which is a priority at the moment. How about we do this next Sunday? At work also, sometimes you might not be able to say no at work because you know they're paying you, so you have to find time they would expect, but still you can work around. At work, you know how to juggle around. But end of the day, we pray to Krishna how to manage everything. Okay, it's not that we are great at everything. We are learning. We always continue to learn, and eternally. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with trial and error either. If you made a mistake by giving them the option and they come back with the option that is not conducive to your situation, then yeah, you're learning that from that mistake you made. So things like that. Okay, but being compassionate to yourself is more important first of all, because serving your body is the best service you could do to Krishna. Of course, Krishna lives as Paramatma in your heart, in everyone's heart. Therefore, your body is, matter of fact, it's a temple. And therefore, we should be taking care of that first. That's where we are very much lenient and very careless about when it comes to us. We give our love and devotion and care and everything to others, but we are not being selfish to our own self, to one extent, you know. So that's where we need to learn. So when we start with the worry, which is a component of mind, and stress is a component of the body, and the worry leads to stress, and then stress leads to anxiety, which is a component of the mind and body. And then the panic, you become fearful of the facts and you get panic attack, or you can't function anymore, things like that. And then there is depression. Then that's where we shouldn't end up at, because of course, if we have ended up already, that's fine. We can always recover from it. We can always reverse the situation, whatever it is. But if we end up in there, then it might need clinical treatment, correct? So here, let's see, that's in psychology, there is a study conducted with a dog, and it is called Seligman theory. And when there was a dog kept in a cage with the fence or barrier built, and the dog was allowed to pass through the barrier, and it was firstly safe to do so, and there was no problem. And then the psychologist imposed some electric shock on the barrier. When the dog tried to pass over the fence, it got the electric shock, and then it started to get this mental agony, the stress factors, and it was wondering why this is happening. And then when the dog kept trying to pass through the barrier, every time there was an electric shock, then the dog started to feel very depressed. So we think the depression or the stress factor is only applicable to the human beings, but it's not. Even then, when there was a study conducted to the plants, and there were 3 different kinds of planted at the same time, and they were watered at the same time, at the same amount, and then they were provided food, or whatever the plant food, they provided to all 3 at the same time in the same manner. However, there was one little difference, was the person who was treating the plant or growing the plant, of each plant has different persons, and they there are two different studies. One was with 3 plants, the other was with 2 plants. With 3 plants, they put the music, one with mode of goodness. Of course, they were not devotees and they didn't know that mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, but they simply put the music that we know, that is in mode of goodness, and that is the music in mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. And the plant, the size of growth were tremendously significantly high when the plant was treated or looked after in the mode of goodness. Whereas the mode of ignorance, the music was so damn bad, and therefore the plant was started to die, and then eventually it died. So that's one thing, right? That's one study showed how the sound vibration is more important. That's one study. There was another study conducted between 2 plants, with the 2 plants, and again the same characteristics, everything the same, like watering, giving food, everything in the same manner, same time. But the difference was the one plant was treated by a person who was so abusive, so verbally abusive, and telling all bad things about the plant, and you're not good, you're not great, you're just so bad, why are you looking like this, you're ugly. So all these negative words made the plant feel bad, and it got depressed, and then it died eventually. Okay. On the other hand, the other plant was given so much nourishing words, beautiful words. You're so beautiful, you're lovely, look at you growing, aren't you beautiful? So those positive little words elated the plant, and it started to grow nicely, and it just started growing nicely and taller, and everything was perfect with that plant. So from that study also, we understand that what is important there is positive mindset. And we have this needs of hierarchy by Maslow, another psychologist. So if we have here physiological needs starting from the bottom, where you need all this food, water, shelter, you need clean clothes and sleep. Of course, you need breathing, fresh air, everything, the basic needs for your body. And then there is safety and security. For your family, you need to give support, and for your own self, you need a job, those type of things. And then love and belonging is where you need more of that, because we all need that sense of connection between one another, amongst one another. When you go to the social when you go to a social group or gathering, you expect you are one of the primary persons there. Sometimes you wanted to be the primary person, a very important person, like we call VIP, right? Very important person. So these expectation also make us fall sick mentally, because that expectation might not be met all the time. Then there is a feeling of disappointment, and then there is detachment from being connected to the loved ones or the social group. That's when you withdraw yourself from the society, and then that ends up in depression also. And there is self-actualization, self-estimation. Self-esteem is something about your own confidence and expecting expecting others to respect you also, and you want it to be unique in nature as well. And self-actualization is very important, because it talks about, or it is about you and you realizing your growth potential, the growth factors, more than you accepting or working on your deficiency. Okay, so you're more focused on how to improve your skills. For example, you're good at mridanga, then you work on it. How can I improve that further? But when you are not good at something, you're not sitting and worried about it, or just focusing on just, I'm not good at singing, right? So I'm not sitting and worrying about it. Oh, I'm not good at singing. What do I do? I'm not good at singing. I don't even think about what do I do about it, but I just keep worrying about it, which is not helping anyway, right? Self-actualization means you pick up the good qualities on you and just enhancing it further. All right. So the next, with the psychology, we treat this psychological distresses into popular methods, two popular therapies, you could say. One is cognitive behavioral therapy, the other one is interpersonal therapy. So cognitive behavior therapy is nothing but your cognitive, that is your thinking mindset, behavior, thinking behavior needs to be changed there. So when we change that, even you shift the paradigm of from one place to another, then automatically how you act will make the difference as well, correct? So for example, in this slide, picked up the example of, say, for example, you're looking for a job online and your computer decided not to work anymore, just shuts down, and you become frustrated naturally, right? See, when you are very content, matured, you would just start working on it. Oh, what's wrong with it? Let me work on it. If you notice someone driving with you who really get this kind of emotion very quickly, when they drive, for example, you're sitting next to them, they're driving the car, and there is a problem there, simple problem. It's not a big problem at all. Just someone just passing you, but they didn't put the indicator, for example. They didn't put the right indicator, but they just changed the lane and then come to your lane, and you now got frustrated. You could handle it in two ways. Everything can be handled in two ways, one in a good way, one in a bad way. Good way for your own self and others, and the bad way for your own self and others, correct? So it depends on your maturity level, you will act on it. And Chaitanya Charan Prabhu once said, you respond, you don't react to the situation, but rather you would respond to the situation. So there is a difference between respond and reacting. Reacting means without the emotional or rational intelligence, you just react, right? Something went wrong, you just reacted it, which is natural. But when you have higher maturity, you'll find those people with higher maturity, they don't react as much as you would or I would, correct? So when the car passed you by and then they didn't put the right indicator on, then this driver started to yell at this other driver, saying how dare he is, and he didn't even turn on his indicator. He's just going like as if it is his road or his father's road, etc., etc. We just start And you'll be thinking why this person is so emotional, and he is angry and he is yelling at the other driver who can't even hear what he's talking about. He already passed on, he moved on, and he is not in your life. He was not in your life and he will not be in your life. Why are you so much emotional? Why are you becoming so angry? And you're wasting your energy. For 8 seconds of anger, the doctor says, 8 seconds of anger your body goes through, that will cause a lot of chemicals to produce in your body that needs to be eradicated from the body, that because they are toxic chemicals. It will take about 8 hours to get out of your body. Just imagine you have done something for 8 seconds, which is nothing in this material world. 8 seconds is nothing, right? And you have to go through, or your body has to go through, you are working on a computer, you're working on an Excel file, and you made a mistake, and it's just you've done it in within a matter of seconds, but now you have to fix it. Your boss told you to fix it, and it will take you another full working day to fix it. How do you feel? Would you be happy about it? I don't think I will be happy about it. But yeah, we have to sometimes learn those mistakes as well. And the interpersonal theory is about, say, for example, you have a challenging relationship with a particular person, then you work with them, or work with your psychologist, to how to set a boundary between you and the other person who is very challenging in your relationship, and then how do we overcome that situation. That is interpersonal relationship. And we see the signs also, where sometimes we tend to ignore the signs. The signs, like, not a medical science, I'm talking about signs like symptoms, emotional symptoms, and there is physical symptoms. So, excuse me, emotional symptoms like personality, you're changing of your personality. Some people would pick up on your symptoms and say, oh, it's not like you. Why are you behaving like this differently this time? Something like that. Sometimes you get feedback from others, but sometimes you yourself notice. And ironically, when we chant and continue to chant every day, and when we try to focus on our chanting and pray to the Lord, you will identify all those signs or symptoms, or whatever that falls, the anarthas that you manifest, your mind manifests, or you manifest, whether through mind, like karmano, manaso, then vacho. So either by activity, or by mind, or by speaking. On these three elements, one can manifest their emotions, right? Or thoughts, whatever they have in their, so they can just speak it out, or they just start thinking about it, or you just behave it in a way. How this Muni, it's not Durvasa Muni, but Brihu Muni, yeah. When Brihu Muni wanted to test who is the Supreme Lord, he wanted to test Lord Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Then he went to everyone separately just to test their level of the godly nature. Of course, Krishna is the supreme, we all know that, but again, this is a pastime. We just learn the correct essence in the pastime. We shouldn't too much analyze or anything. Just learn what is it that I can learn from it. What is the matter, or the point or two that I can learn from it? So from this story, I'm sure you might have all heard of the story many times. So just to give you overview of it, so he goes separately to each individual Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, and with Brahma, he made the offense with mind. He did not offer obeisances. So therefore, Brahma was insulted. He was offended. And when he went to Shiva, Shiva offered the embracement, but he ignored. Brigumuni ignored and saying, "Oh, you're coming from the cemetery and you're dirty. Your body is full of ashes. I'm not going to touch you." So that was offense made by not through body but through speech, vacho. And then there is with Vishnu, when he went to Vaikuntha Loka, he kicked the chest of Lord Vishnu. Then, of course, Lord Vishnu patted his Bhrigu feet and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my chest is so hard, it might have hurt your little lotus feet. Let me give you a massage." So that is Vishnu, of course. He is always renunciate, fully renounced. And if we were in that position, we would have got angry and upset and everything. But the lesson learned from there is how one can offend physically, mentally, and through speech also. That's what Brigumani did with Vishnu, was physically he kicked. So these are the things we see with us also, how our anarthas manifesting, right? And then there are symptoms from the stress also. We will have to identify sooner or later, or do we have sometimes this Google doctor what he does, or Google Acharya what he does, giving us too much information. We don't even have those symptoms, or sometimes we might have the symptoms for whatever. For dehydration, we might be like feeling like a headache or something, and then when we Google it, and then it will give you a lot of things that you don't even need to know, and it will take us up to the level of, oh, it could be a cancer or something severe, brain tumor. So this is how we get more stressed. So we should try to avoid too much analysis on things sometimes as well. Sometimes you can treat the symptoms, and of course you have to treat the root cause, but this is to give an idea only. It's not about, oh, let me interrogate myself. Do I have these symptoms? Do I go through this? Oh no, I am having the depression. Then that's the conclusion. No, it's not for that. Just to give you an idea. The statistics done, and interestingly, the higher level of stress was due to the drug abuse, like when we take the drugs, alcohol or some other drugs. And the lowest was, this is like a perceived cause for mental distress. These are the reasons, or the causes, perceived causes. It could not be actual, but it's perceived causes. The medical was the last or the least reason, and the topmost was the substance abuse. Interestingly, we have this yellow box or a yellow rectangle here in a vertical way. That is divine punishment or God's will. So thinking about that also, we get stressed. So there you go. So we have to address everything, right? I'll come to that again. How do we analyze to some extent? And this psychological distress in the the bottom rectangle is from Australian statistics, not from Indian or worldwide. It's only for Australian one. And you should understand this fact as well. Compared to India, a lot of youngsters naturally or distress, even youngsters or older people, doesn't matter. Naturally, people are more distressed in Western world than in India. Okay, one is India is holy dham. Bharata Bhumi is like Punya Bhumi. So therefore, always there are pious things happening, and you get to see them. Then you get sukruti for that, just for seeing or hearing. But in Western world, the chances, the opportunities are very slim. Therefore, to recover from the mental agony through the spiritual course is very hard, unless Krishna's or God's representatives are addressing those factors and helping the fallen souls like us. So 15% of Australian experience a high level of distress, and out of that, if you look at it, the women are more distressed than men. That's because we think a lot, we do multitasking, we think too much, and we like to have things perfectly done, perfectly made, perfectly delivered. But there's a big perfection disorder is also another factor. But even if we don't have those factors, still we tend to have higher stress level because we have higher expectation. Sometimes when I tell my husband something, how I felt about something that happened, then he would say, I didn't even think of it from that perspective at all. He wouldn't even have the time or energy to think about the level of way how I think and perceive things. And he would just least bother about few things. But some cases where the men are more stressed on their giving security or protection to the family, and have the job security. So those sections, they will be stressed naturally, like paying off mortgage or keeping up with the mortgage, for example, not even paying off the mortgage, but keeping up with the mortgage and catching up with the debts, or just survival, survival factors, the basic factors they might be worried about. But with us, If I look fat in the mirror, I'll be worried. If I look ugly, or if someone says that why you look very dull today, then I get depressed. You know what I mean? Just examples. Or someone say, you're great, you're doing such a wonderful job, and you're just flying in the air. So these things easily affect us. But with men, they're okay, but because they don't express too much, they are not designed to express things too much, but we are. Therefore, the stress levels are there because stresses are directly connected with this expressions or the emotions. And again, the statistics shows the younger Australians more likely to experience a higher level of stress, psychological distress, than older Australians. So regardless whether in India or Australia or any other Western world or any part of the world, youngsters, like I'm saying, not in villages. Villages, they are happy farming and doing little simple things. See, if we are content and happy with what we have, then we are good. We don't worry about it anything. And the second section here in this slide, the middle section is so important. If you can remember this the rest of your life, please do that, um, because it will help us to be alert in our activities also. In the developing countries or the countries that have more educated number of people, there the stress or distress is higher in youngsters because they're worried about social peer pressure, social media pressure, and then job pressure. If you have work, you have work pressure. If you don't have work, then pressure because you don't have work. You need to find a job. So these pressure are too much affecting the younger people in general because they think, oh, I have a higher things I have, or people have higher expectations on me, so I have to meet that. That automatically gives you stress, right? If you're taking things easily, you don't worry about it too much. So next, this slide is talking about how we look at things in a spiritual perspective. So far, we were looking at what is stress, what are the symptoms, what are the causes, and some statistics. And also we saw how psychologists treat those symptoms, right, into different methods. Now we are jumping into from material perspective of dealing things to spiritual things. So when we understand spiritual things, which is understanding the whole picture, not just some part of the picture. When you understand the entire picture, then it is very easy to address our problem where we fit in there. So cause, we all know this, right? Three problems we have, three reasons is Adi Atmiha, Adi Deviha, Adi Baudiya. So that is this agony caused by our own body and mind or by other living entities. Other living entities could be even the viruses, bacteria, and mosquitoes, and other like neighbors and whatnot. And Deviha is natural disasters or the things that are not in our control. So if we understand that, okay, the problem that I have is caused by what? Most of the time is Adi Atmiya, to be frank, right? Most of the time our mind will trick us and then we follow the mind and say, oh, well, this is what I should be doing when you shouldn't be doing that. Now, coming to the 8 elements, it is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. These 8 elements, when you see, for example, Gauranga Das Prabhu, he repeatedly tells this. He is happy because out of these 8 elements, all he has to worry about is Atma, the body, because 90% of the other factors are eliminated from his lifestyle. Therefore, only 10% he has to work on it. So he is not worried about it. Even with the body, he has feed the body, take care of the body, which can be done easily because you don't have 9 other jobs to do. You only have one job, that just that. And then, of course, with the body, what do you do? Serve the Lord. That's his main focus, of course. But with the material elements, we have body, Atma, Jaya, wife or husband, and Sutta, children, Ahara, house. and pasu animals in the olden days, of course, but these days we don't care, keep pasu, and only vehicles we work for. And then dravida, money, and bandhusu, acceptance from the society of friends and relatives, and next rajya, controlling over one's career or progress. So because we're always working on these 8 elements, we're always worried, right? When we try to minimize some things, and of course, if you have children, you can't get rid of children, of course. But and if you have wife, you can't get rid of her. And but the point that we are trying to learn from here is simple, keeping it simple, keeping it simple. I tell my parents, keep your life simple, because when they spend luxuriously for luxurious things without having that luxurious amount of money, but borrowing money and then showing others that you're being luxurious, what's the use? This is what most of the people would do or try to do, to impress others with what you don't have. So you don't have to do that, right? Whether it's materialistic way or spiritualistic way, just keep it simple. If you are good at nothing, that's fine as well. But Krishna has created us with some talents. It's not that you're good at nothing. Everyone is good at something. You might be good at cleaning. I might be good at talking. I might be good at um, making friends, or I might be good at introducing one to another person who might help. Instead of me doing everything myself, I can refer that person to another person who could help this person better than myself. So we need to identify what we are good at and then work on that, just keeping it simple. Not, okay, oh, did they accept me? Did this group accept me? If we worry about every factor, then we will never be happy. And then the types of the distress that we generally face also, created stress. So you're going out of comfort zone. Okay, you're going out of your comfort zone, and then you're creating some stress there. It's not that you purposefully created a stress, but the stress has been created just because you're out of your comfort zone. And then perceived stress is like there is a stress and you're perceiving it in one way. Okay, so there is you have a child, and you think, child means I can't do this and that, and now I'm miserable because now I have to take care of my child only. I can't take care of myself. These are perceived stress, because things you can always mix and match in how you wanted to manipulate things and how you wanted to deliver things, right? How you wanted to care your child and yourself, and etc. You can do that, but when you perceive in such a way that it becomes stress. And artificial stress is sometimes you talk about something and someone else is telling their stress with their situation, then automatically you create that artificial stress. Oh, maybe I also have that. Now you become stressful as well. And then there is actual stress that comes naturally anyway, so which you would know. So you need to be able to identify that as well. And we know this is all because of this permutation combination of 3 modes of material nature. And when you put red light in the white paper, you see the red picture. And then if it is a blue light, you see the blue picture, like that. You see which mode of material nature you are in. Of course, we can't be always at mode of ignorance or goodness or passion. You will be on different levels. Sometimes more goodness and little passion, more ignorance with little goodness. You might have all those different combinations, but you need to make more. You need to take more advantage of when you are in the higher modes of material nature, and then try to extend that as much as possible. And then again, when you come down to tamaguna, that is fine, but again you work on it to go back to satoguna, for example. Generally we are all in most of us try to be in satoguna in the morning times, right? And then there is controlling nature. We know this left side, which is very popular joke, you say, and even another devotee, he often says this joke as well. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's very popular. And he says, actually, this is a popular joke. Do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then why do you worry? And if you have a problem, if you don't have a problem, and then why do you worry? So if you have a problem, you can do something about it or not. you can't do something about it, still why worry? So that's the point we are trying to make, right? So don't worry about it, just be happy. And the next one is this the tea that you cannot swallow is reality, right? We can't accept this reality sometimes. And as I was saying, you think you're so beautiful and thin and everything, when you look at the mirror, say for example you have a mirror that always showed you very slim, for example, and then you go to another mirror from your friend's place and it show you look fat or chubby, then you become very upset. Oh my god, what's happening here? Then you feel miserable. Then that means you can't accept the reality. So these little things make us feel miserable. And then there was a joke, you need to be like a pressure cooker. Why? Because the pressure cooker always, when it is sitting on the fire, top of the fire, the pressure cooker's bottom is on the fire, and the top of the pressure cooker is full of pressure, so much pressure, but still he whistles, right? So like that, we should be able to do that. So, and now immunity, all of us need to develop immunity, right? We have to develop immunity physiologically, with the body. You take whatever. I'm not with vaccination thing. Actually, am I against vaccination? But generally speaking, you can take whatever, ginger, turmeric, or something like that, or protecting yourself from the like the bacteria, virus, or toxic people, for example, toxic atmosphere, example, like that. So you create that physiological immunity. And then there is psychological immunity. Like when people, if you look at the first picture, different clouds is just putting all those rubbish onto you, like that, people laughing at you or yelling at you. So the immunity, like an umbrella, you need to create. For that, you need spirituality, right? You have to be in the path of spirituality. You need to keep Krishna in the center. Then your physiological and psychological immunity can be taken care of, because you know how to, take care of your body, because you need to serve the Lord with your body, serve the Lord and the devotees with your body. So your body needs to be nice and healthy. So you will make sure it's immune to all these diseases and toxic people and everything. And psychologically as well, as I said. So keeping Krishna in the center will give you spiritual immunity always. So quickly check the chat. Okay. All right. So we need to go to the question and answer session. Maybe we quickly cover what I've got. It's almost done. That's okay. Just 1 or 2 minutes. So Bhagavad Gita, you want to look up Bhagavad Gita, what it says about distress. Mainly it talks about this depression thing to Arjuna, Krishna talking this to Arjuna. So give up this petty weakness and rise above. And then there is some, like winter and summer, the happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, you need to build up your immunity there. And Bhagavatam also talks about distress. See, advanced devotees welcome the distress. And learned devotees, they see the distress as another form of the Lord. And also purificatory process. And Krishna gives us distress to relieve us from mrityu samsara. And this distress is also an impetus to remember Krishna. These are the things we need to remember. And also the most important thing is, it is diminishing my reactions of impious activities, because you're not getting distress out of nowhere. It's because of karmic reaction. But when we are burning that reaction, it's getting out of our way now. We are, minimizing our baggage. And Prabhupada says, don't expect smooth sailing in this world. And we know so many examples of how Mother Kunti, Prahlad, and Dhruva Maharaj, all they faced. And whatever we are facing is not that bad, that we should understand. And always use 5 whys. When you're in a position, you're distressed, 5 whys, interrogative technique, that is called. So why this happened? Why I'm feeling bad about this Prabhu or Mataji, and then going back further down, 5 whys. Why is that? Why is that? Then you will find out that it's just because of your anarthas or something else, And yeah, summary, I already covered it. Any questions or comments? So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Hare Krishna. So, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful session. It was really enlightening and insightful. So, if anyone is having any questions, then kindly raise your hands virtually so that we can unmute you. Also, in chat, you can put your questions. Hare Krishna. Khushi, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Hare
I
Krishna.
have a question that while we are studying and we are in college or we are studying, at that time we feel like hearing lectures or reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what we can do while we think like that, and how to concentrate while studying.
Wow. That's very elevated thought actually. When I was studying, I was not even in Krishna consciousness. I wish I had such a thought. So this is a very positive, conducive, favorable thought which you shouldn't ignore. Say for example, you set up a time, right? You organize your time from 6 to 8, you do this, and 8 to 10, you do that on a steady holiday, and you want a break. Usually it is said you shouldn't be eating by doing some other activity like listening or doing something else. But I would say it's okay. When you're eating prasadam, just keep the lecture on, whichever you are very keen to hear, and just listen and do it. See, most of the times the lectures are recorded online anyway. Even if you miss out on the live sessions, the classes will be recorded. But if the classes are not recorded, it is live, you need to be there, then you manage your time. That way you make sure you finish whatever you have to do before you can go and attend the class, and then come back and make up the time. But again, we shouldn't be, they say, don't be so fanatical about things and miss out on what you have to do right now. That is true as well. But again, you need to know how to manage your time better. So for that, I always write down my to-do list all the time. I have my to-do list and I like to tick them off so that I am very happy when I see ticking them off. Sometimes I get stressed as well. Oh my God, I haven't ticked this so far, but that's okay. It will take their own time. Sometimes you're waiting on a parcel from India to here. It will take their own time. You for stressing about it will not do any good for us. Like that, you need to manage your time, and accordingly you see when it fits and where it fits. And if you sit and hear lecture all the time, then you should imagine, okay, what will happen if I don't pass this exam? What are the consequences? And then that will give you an impetus, that will encourage you to study well, so you become a good professional, so you can preach to a lot of professionals. And that way, you are someone in the market, preaching market, I shouldn't say market, but yeah, preaching sphere. So you can do better. But it's not that you have to be a very big professional to preach. I'm just saying an example to motivate yourself. Does it answer this question? Answer your
Yes,
question?
Mataji. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mataji.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Next, Riya Khanna Mataji.
Hi Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for this session. So Mataji, I have a small doubt. So as Krishna says, "Ye yatha mam prapadyante," that the proportion to be which we render service to him, he'll reciprocate according to that. So Mataji, as you mentioned, towards the end of the session, like we have to be motivated. There's a lot of pressure being put on us. But it is not that simple to apply, because sometimes when we are at sadhaka stage, and suppose we are helping others who are also at sadhak stage. So suppose we have helped them to up to our level best, but sometimes what happens is they become against us, or they basically gossip about us, or spread negativity about us. So how can we tackle this situation while remaining ourselves cool, like pressure cooker is whistling, so we can be unaffected by all this? Because it is not that easy to remain unaffected. Obviously we will be affected if we help anyone, and then I hope I was able to convey. Yeah.
So,
She's
Hare Krishna,
about
that was a nice question. Everyone faces that time to time or always. So, it is said in Shastras, name and fame that will never go. They are like stools for devotees. That we should try to avoid them, because we think we have become an instrument for that person to become better at their Krishna consciousness. Now they are blaming me. So now what we are trying to do here is we putting ourselves in the center instead of putting Krishna in the center. Honor and dishonor come and go, and we are not in the stage of Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna. We are just simply because we wanted to centralize ourselves, and we want to be the central element for others also, not for our own self, but others also. Because they didn't meet the expectation, you're disappointed. Not you, I'm just saying you, because it's normal conversational factor we use, don't mistake me. So when someone, like, because of me, that person have come to Krishna consciousness, now that person has touched me, they just don't care about me, they're not giving me respect that they used to give. So these all expectations, or because the honor that we wanted, is not going to help our bhakti, right? We need to water the sprout, the bhakti sprout that is sprouting out, because we, as you said nicely, we are all at sadhaka stage. We're still practicing devotees, and when we have not even grown a plant, we're just very much like little sprout coming here and there. And then when we water it with nice bhakti, devotion, like-minded people's association, then it will grow nicely. When someone is saying gossiping about ourselves, we should understand, well, they are the postman, they're delivering what I deserve, that's fine. It's not like I don't deserve that. It's like maybe in a previous life, whatever I have done, that's coming back to me now through this person, and that person is creating that infamy because of my past karma. So I should accept it and just tolerate it, just let it go. But sometimes, not sometimes, always, we get this the feeling of trying to justify the situation, defend ourselves. No, I have not done it, you're wrong, I haven't done it. So we try to do all those things, but we pray to Krishna, he will solve the problem, okay, eventually, and sometimes immediately. So I had a situation with someone closer to me, and they didn't understand whatever the assistance I've done to them materially, financially, spiritually, devotionally, not even just normal spiritual, it's a devotional also. But they just, even if they don't reciprocate, they don't even know how to appreciate, not being grateful. That disappointed me so much. I prayed to Krishna. That's fine, Krishna, whatever they think of me, that's fine, but just make them understand you are great. And because of me, they shouldn't leave you and go. But I'm not that great personality to tell you. I also experienced so many bad negative emotions from me, and had negative consequence also. But from that experience, I'm trying to tell you that please pray to Krishna, he will solve the problem nicely. If possible, in a polite, professional way, you can deliver your message, your side of points, in a proper way with the common person, known between you and the other person, to solve the problem, to make the other person understand that the problem was not caused by you, for example, so that you can have nice relationship going forward. Then go ahead and do it. But if you think it's not worth it or anything like that, then pray to Krishna. So you can't even imagine wild enough that how Krishna makes arrangement that solve the problem then and there. Okay, prayers are always there, important in devotional life, like Kunti Rani, Gajendra, and everyone. The prayers always there. Kardama Muni, Brahma, who didn't pray in Bhagavatam? Everyone prayed, right? Like we should be also steal those prayers and pray that back to Krishna. Pick up relevant verses for your situation and then just echo it.
Yeah,
Does it
thanks.
answer?
Yes, Madhuri, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. There are a few questions in the chat box, so I'll just read them.
Yes,
So,
thanks.
yeah, Chitrani Mataji is asking how to make ourselves wake up early in the morning. So, I think questions answers can be a little like not time taking, so that we
Yeah.
can end up the session. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Aishi. So, yeah. So when you see the pressure given to you by someone, some other Matajis or some other devotees, or you need to wake up early, you need to attend Mangala Arati, think about your own situation, what your body accepts. Start slowly. Of course, keeping an alarm is, of course, we all do. But what are the other chores you have in the morning and in the evening? What time you go to bed depends on the body. Depends on your body. You wake up early. Some people go late, wake up early. Some people can't do it. So it depends on your body. You work on that. Don't put pressure on yourself that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. You work on it. So start with weekly once and then weekly twice, waking up early. But you have to make sure you get enough sleep. Otherwise, your body will not function during the day. Thank you. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah. Anmol, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji. Ayushi is asking how to overcome perfection disorder, how to overcome negative thinking, and how to overcome being frustrated.
Last one, what was that? Sorry, I didn't hear properly.
How to overcome being frustrated.
Hmm. So see that frustration is all because of expectation, right? Expectation to have something or someone to do this, or from our own self or others. So expectation leads to suffering. That's what Shastras say. So we shouldn't expect anything. We leave the result to Krishna. We read this time to time, but practically applying is where we are having difficulties, correct? So when we try to have this perfection, only Krishna is perfect. Purnamadam Purnamidam. Only he can be the fully perfect, fully complete. We cannot be. We can only imitate, right? And if it is favorable for bhakti, we can do it to certain level. We shouldn't put too much pressure on ourselves saying, oh, I need that hedge to be vertical, not horizontal. If you're worried about that, what good it can bring it to you, right? It's like that, simple things, just ignore. Perfection, only Krishna can be perfect. Understand that philosophy and leave that to Krishna. Whatever you can do, set up the time. I would suggest each and every one of you, including myself, organizing your time is more important. That way, you're not overdoing it or over perfecting it. Okay. And the perfecting disorder, frustration, that will all because of that expectation on you or someone. And what was the second one? Sorry.
How to overcome negative thinking.
Yes. Negative thinking means we have to think more positive things. Like, for example, to avoid disassociation, to avoid material association, you need to have more spiritual association. Like that, you need to give something to your mind, your body, your spirit. You can't just take things away. If you're taking away the negative thoughts, what the mind will do? It will become idle? No, it won't become idle. It will think more negative things only. So you have to give something positive. For that, you need to speak to somebody or hear something, read books, write books. My 8-year-old son, he is writing a book. So like that, because if I let him do nothing, he will do something else, rubbish, right? So I want to make sure our mind or our child, it's all same way, right? So we need to put some engagement. So you need to give engagement, then the mind will do that nicely. If we don't do it, automatically it goes to the, like a crow and the swan. What it will go, where crow will go to the rubbish, where the swan will go to pick up milk from the water, right? Like that only. Where the parrot will go, only ripen nice sweet fruit. Where the honey will go, we read this from Shastra. So we try to practically apply or take counseling from seniors time to time, just to refresh our mind, to refresh our activities. So that is important.
Hare Krishna
Thank you.
Mataji. Next question is how to make ourselves motivated, self-motivated.
That's a good question. So keeping ourselves motivated means you need to hear something motivating, do something motivating, right? And eating gives me motivation. But if I overeat, what will happen? That's not good, even if it is prasadam, right? So that I can't do. So you do things moderately. And Krishna has given us variety, like Prabhupada has given us variety. So cleaning and hearing and watering tulsi and so many activities there. Pick things you are interested in, not because someone else told you to do. Of course, if they need job, they need service done, do it. But do something you can do it with your heart, with your mind, right? Then that will give you motivation rather than doing it for someone else. Eventually you'll break. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Why do you want to go live in a forest like a beggar? When you are a kshatriya, do your kshatriya duty. Then you will do it with your heart. If you start doing, if I say, okay, okay, do it like a brahmana, like a beggar, and live like that, then eventually you'll come out of that position because that is not your swarupa. So whatever your swarupa, do that and get motivated from that. For me, for example, writing books, giving classes, preaching to new people, these are things that motivates me and makes me happy. And I become very happy, elated when I do all these things. And when I do some things, cleaning, standing, I get pain and I can't do it. So I try to minimize that service and maximize the other services. So balancing as well, so that your pleasing Krishna should be your ideal goal, but we are not into that level yet. So therefore, we need to work on from the start, bottom. Thank you. Next. And one thing, if anyone wants to stay back, do that. If anyone wants to leave, you can leave. If more questions are there, I'm happy to sit and answer. Whereas some people wants to leave early, I'm more than happy for them to leave. That's fine.
Mataji, can we take some more questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Vidushi is asking, we do know what's good for our brain and what's not.
Yes.
Despite knowing, we do things which shouldn't be done, and that somehow affects the tasks which are way more important than that. So I'm not able to get it.
Okay, Vidushi is here. Does she want to explain last point? I didn't get it. Is it in the chat box?
Yeah, it's there in the chat box.
Okay. Is it the first question? I'll just check.
What I understood is that we know what is good or bad, but then we end up doing something which is not favorable. So how to overcome that?
Okay, so Krishna, when he was asked this question by Arjuna, why people do sinful activities even though they know it is sinful, then Krishna says it's lust only, Arjuna. Lust is not only towards the opposite sex, but it is also about the deep desire that you wanted to take pleasure out of some activity or something or someone, right? That's lust. So when we understand that um, the lust is the cause or this is the cause, then it is easy to address the root automatically. When we identify the root, then we can address the cause. So here, what is good for us? Krishna again, Arjuna surrenders. Shishyate mahi sadimam prapantam. So tell me what's good for me, what's best for me, because I surrender unto you. Therefore, we also should surrender to some elevated souls and ask what's good for me, right? But scriptures tell you, naturally, we all know what is good, what is bad. It's not that even children will know what is good, what is not good. Correct? We can't hide the fact. We can't pretend that we don't know. We know. And if we don't know for particular situation, okay, what is right? It puts Krishna in a center, the devotional service in the center. See whether this activity that I do is going to be favorable for Krishna consciousness. Anukulya sankalpa pradikulyasya varjanam. So if it is favorable, take that. If it is not favorable, reject it. It could be relationship, or it could be the situation or activity or atmosphere or a book, for example, anything. But it doesn't mean relationship. And I said that you just don't break the relationship and go. It means you take little association from them materially, if absolutely necessary, and if possible, give them more association of Krishna consciousness. One thing we will need to understand, for any situation, if you preach more, if you give Krishna to more people, automatically we will be happy. Okay, some people are good at book distribution, some people are good at preaching, some people are good at you know serving the devotees or newcomers. Whatever you are good at in terms of preaching can be done in any way, kirtan or anything like that, or distributing prasadam. If you do keep doing that, automatically you will Krishna will reveal everything to you, what is good for you, what is bad for you, and everything. Paramatma is there, right? How can we ignore? We will get the instinct all the time. Okay, so we have next question from Sakshi. Is that correct?
Just last question.
Yeah.
We can.
So mental health or depression is a curable disease or disorder, but the time we lost Krishna consciousness, how to stay connected with Krishna always, no matter what the situation is. So yeah, unfortunately, during mental health or disorder, it is very hard to stay in Krishna consciousness. I agree, because you want your mental to be peaceful. Being peaceful will make you happy. So for that, as soon as you identify, I told you, right, 5 whys. It's an analysis method. 5 whys: why this happened, why that happened, why was that, why was this. When you go back further, you will have a root cause, and then you see how you can address it. But if you're not in a situation to do that, take professional counseling, clinical counseling, or someone in a devotee sector, get some help. Don't neglect it. Just get help. And then you staying connected, even at the thought of staying connected itself is staying connected. So don't have to be literally in the temple attending classes or giving classes or doing bhajan. No, thinking itself is dhyana bhajan is enough. Okay, in the nectar of devotion it says dhyana, the meditation itself is we know that South Indian Brahmana, how he got hurt in the finger, and thought of checking the sweet rice that he prepared mentally for Lord Vishnu, right? So Krishna accepted that. So therefore, don't worry about being lost, but having that desire itself, you are connected. Okay, so Aishi, so what do you want?
Thank you so much, Mataji, for answering so many questions and for giving so much of your precious time. I'm thinking that people are having many more questions. Like they are messaging me personally also. So we can have one more session on any topic, if you're convenient next time, any Saturday or any day that is convenient for you. So we can have this again.
Yeah,
Is it okay,
definitely,
Mataji?
Aishi. Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to do it. And thank you very much, everyone, for tolerating me so far, and happy to share whatever I've learned. It's not my own mental speculation or anything. So whatever I shared today, it's coming from somewhere I heard or learned or read. So thank you very much, and we'll again see you all, and we'll stay connected. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. It was
And you're
perfect class.
welcome to, thank you. And you're welcome to copy the questions and WhatsApp me. I'll send my voice recording so that they'll get the answers. So I don't want them feel that they have not been answered. So I'm more than happy to answer in the voice recording separately.
Yes, Mataji, I've taken screenshots. So we'll end the
Okay.
session with
Thank you.
the mantra, Vaishnav Pranam mantra. Vanchakalpitarubhyashta कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हर
Jai.
ईश्वरी लक्ष्मी प्रिया माता जी की जय।
All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.